Thinking of investing, working, or starting a business in the cannabis industry? We've got you covered right here on Plant Problems. Hosted by Tony Frischknecht, Plant Problems takes a different approach to cannabis than what you're seeing and hearing from the mainstream media. Come along with Tony and be in the know about how to invest, work, or start a cannabis business. Let's get the show started with your host, Tony Frischknecht.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Plant Problems. Today we're going to be continuing episode 5 in our 8-part series. We have been spending a lot of time discussing opportunities out in Massachusetts, massive opportunities in the social equity world. So there's a limited amount of licenses and there's quite a bit of struggle. So I am going to continue the conversation with Flavia Hungaro, cannabis entrepreneur, and we're going to be discussing some of the struggles that she's been experiencing. So without further ado, here's the episode.
I do agree with you. The main goal was to actually have Taunton open first, and I thought that was going to happen because we were like way ahead in terms of like local licensing in Taunton. It's just that the last meeting is just I got provisional in Taunton back in May. Yeah. And I still don't have a final hearing date. So this is the only concern I have. Like, when are they going to schedule this? Am I going to have to wait until next year? Now we're hoping that it's going to be after the election. So.
Well, let me ask you this. Yeah, no, and fair point. So you're like, well, maybe I should start leaning towards Berkeley because I'm not sure about Taunton.
It's a secure. Yeah, it seems to be more secure. And for example, Taunton, they're going to have 5 stores, right? And then they actually gave up more host community agreements than they have the maximum allowed of retails that they can have. So to me, it's like, why are they doing this? Because even though Taunton's a disproportionate area of impact, and like I said, Cambridge is doing a lot to support, economic empowerment, Taunton's not. It doesn't seem like they are caring the same way.
Is there any influence you can have on getting that scheduled sooner? Is there any way you can get that pushed out?
All the companies are really, waiting for this moment. It's not just. I don't think at this point we've been asking, when is it going to be? I had an original date for the licensing hearing for my company for October 29. I mean, actually, no, September 29. And then they keep rescheduling. So it was supposed to be this Tuesday now, October 20 again. They gave me a new date, and actually they sent out, requiring additional documentation for everyone. They want to make sure that everyone have enough, funding, and they asked for a bunch of documents. We all submitted it last Friday, hoping that we were all going to have the hearing on Tuesday, and again, they did not put anybody on the agenda. So now we're just waiting. We have no date. So my point is, I know that Taunton probably will be the best bet to be open first.
Yeah.
And I'll be more exciting to open in Taunton because it's a whole new thing. And I already, had my brand name and have the concept of the store that I'm planning to do, which I'm planning to do 2 different concepts because the stores are so close to each other. There's no point of having the same name and the same looks in the inside.
You mean Taunton's so close to Berkeley?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm planning to have, for example, a Sugar Loaf in Taunton and have, for example, a Rise in Berkeley. Just to have a brand differentiation there. So I'll be, definitely.
So if they're so close, I'm trying to understand why you would open 2 stores.
Well, I think we do have the market for it, and if even though it's closed, we're going to have different products, and I'm gonna have,
Yeah,
also
no, I get,
but also a lot of different people coming to the store. So
yeah, no, I totally understand that. I'm thinking about there is a there's been several experiences that I've had in the past where I've seen people expand their operations very large, and the ones that I've seen do very well have done one location. They get it so massive. They have so many customers that they drive to that one location, whether it be marketing, whether it be that they explode the store so much that they have to open up a new store.
mm-hmm.
I mean, is the possibility that, and I'm just throwing this is kind of left field, and I wouldn't normally say it. Is there a possibility that you could create an environment in one of these locations that you could draw people over to your store? I mean, is that to stick to one type? And and I say that is to get some more focus on this one, because you say you've got two different concepts you're going to be running, but you're one business, right? It's kind of like saying, well, we're McDonald's, but we're going to cook these burgers here for these guys, and then we're going to have a higher end burger place over here. Is that your model? Is that what you want to create? Is two different brands, or?
Well, I do plan to have two different brands.
Okay.
Yes. And like I said before, it happened. I mean, my intention wasn't to have two stores near each other, but I was fortunate to find a location, and it was at that point I had two different options, and when you're starting everything, you don't really know what's going to happen. And it just happened that both locations end up working out up to this point. So it's, you understand. So I would like to have, diversified in different locations, and that's what I'm actually trying to do. But there is definitely a market for it. For example, Taunton's going to have 5 stores, but are they all going to be open at the same time? No, they're not.
Yeah.
Right. So hopefully not. So, and I don't have to open both stores at the same time. It's just, if I have the capability, I would. But I see your point. I understand your point as well.
Yeah, I look at this and this is where we get into this excitement. Like, well, I could have 2 stores. However, one amazing store over 2 okay stores is a big difference, and it's a battle. And I'm not telling you to do either. I'm just putting out there these scenarios of, like, if you had 2 stores, and let's say they were each bringing in $5,000 a day in sales, but let's say you had one store that was bringing in $20,000 in sales. You're looking at, well, why would I put all my effort into a store? I'm making 20 in this, and I've got 5 over here. And so it's one of those things that you might have to take and look at, because I look at this scenario and I see the value. However, the other side is the time that it takes away from efforts in the big store where you can really make money, because you'll have one of these stores that is going to be a clear differentiating of the other. You'll be like, wow, why did I even put my effort into this? If I had just focused on this one, I could be twice as big, like a superstore, somewhat, right? And forgive me, because I know we haven't gone through the business plan, but I just want to throw out those different options of, okay, well, this could be a possibility, but is it going to take my focus away from being successful? Because at the end of the day, I mean, that's what we really want, right? Is to be successful.
Right.
And now that you brought up the Taunton thing, you don't know when the hearings going to happen. One question I want to ask is, are you involved in any association groups locally in Boston at all, or in Massachusetts? Like, are there any cannabis association groups that you belong to?
Not really. I get a lot of information from social equity programs, teachers, and we all shared information. There is actually an association for retail owners that I was invited to be part of, and that's one of them that I was planning to join, but I haven't really gotten to anything yet.
Okay, so I've got a deliverable for you for when we talk next time. Okay.
Okay.
I want you to find three local, whether it's somewhere in Massachusetts, 3 local association groups, and I want you to go to a meeting, whether it be live or Zoom, whatever, and see which one you like out of the 3. Okay. Your goal is 3. You don't have to do 3, but your goal is to get 3. And I want you to visit these meetings, and see what people are involved in there, because part of what I've seen missing in Taunton is you're just like, well, we keep asking and they're not giving us any availability for signing a date or getting something. What these association groups do is they have people that network with other people and know the local guys, right? You might find you come across somebody that knows the local government in Taunton, and they're like, oh, I can have you set up with Tom. I know Tom. And all of a sudden, you've got that connection on the inside. And that's what I see you're missing in Taunton, at least, is somewhere to get that local connection where somebody you can talk with directly. Because what they'll do in those association groups is they'll vouch for you. We know about her. We know what she's doing. And we need help getting her through the process. Will you help her? And you're going to get, I don't know how much these association groups cost. I mean, you're probably looking anywhere from a couple $100 a month to potentially $1,000 a month. That's why it's worth visiting one of these free meetings to see what people you have there, see if you get any value out of it. Okay. So that's one of the things I want you to, that's one of the deliverables I want you to do before we talk next time. Okay.
Okay.
I promise you'll learn something, whatever. You'll at least learn something going through the process. Let me ask you, is there any questions about these 2, Berkeley and Taunton, that I can answer for you, or that maybe you would like some more information on, or maybe I could help you out with?
Well, one of the things that I would like to hear from you, like in terms of like when you first open your store, as by your experience, and like marketing strategies. That's one of the things that'll be, and I know it's different from state to state, of course, and I know it's very, very restricted. At least in Massachusetts, is very restrictive how you advertise cannabis, and how, because I know, like in the beginning, every week was like the first stores right on the news, or you open the store here, everybody knows about it. Like, what other techniques that you have to share, for example? That's one of the things.
Yes. So we were very restricted too. Excuse me. Most places are. It's pretty common. Like they allowed us, if we had a billboard that was on the side of our building, we could use. People were using social media on different scales before Facebook knocked a lot of that down, so you couldn't do that. This is a tricky one because I have a love-hate with it, because your accounting and how you write off your expenses don't allow you for these because of 280E, right? And that's a whole different story. We can talk about that when you start getting up and running, but there's some huge tax savings that we could discuss further. But one of the things is just knowing your local community, which it sounds like you're working on right now. The other thing that's going to help you is that you're going to get ideas from these association groups of what other people are doing, because all of a sudden, you and I are I'm just going to say example, Flavia and Tony are in the same association group. And let's say I'm 10 miles away. And I'm like, hey, why don't we partner up and do like a barbecue, an opening day barbecue. And I'm not saying do this, I'm just saying this is an example.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden you're splitting all your costs with the guy down the street. And maybe the following week, he's opening up his place and you go support there and you drive people to his business. And then you guys are kind of sharing. And then there's not so much money that's being sunk into advertising that you can't write off anyway. That crushes you. We spent money in advertising, but it killed me every time because it's like $10,000 gone. And now I got to pay taxes on $10,000. It crushed us. One thing that I would look into is, and they may not have it there, but look into, this is the cheapest advertising that I've seen, is on highways. You can adopt a highway.
Mm-hmm.
In Colorado, they allow you can adopt a highway for like $3,000. But you could put your marketing, like on I-70 is one of our main corridors. It goes through the state. And there's hundreds of thousands of people that drive by there a day. And you paid that $3,000 and it was this nice placard on the side of the highway that people were driving by. If you're one of the first to adopt those, you can buy those all up in your area.
That's true.
And I don't know if you've seen that, if anybody's done that in your area yet, but that's one that I always.
Yeah, I have seen like the billboards, but not like adopting a highway. I don't even know if that's allowed. I mean, I don't know how that goes.
I wouldn't be surprised because it's state driven and they want the money too. So look into that.
Okay.
It was about $3,000 here. And that one you don't have to continuously pay on. It's a one-time buy, which is perfect. And you want those next to your major highways where you are anyway. And it's a loophole that you can kind of get around, right?
Right. That's true. Okay.
What you want to start doing what I shouldn't say what you want to, what I would suggest you start doing is as you're starting to build your store, I would create a business page for your dispensary. And I would start and get local people understanding that there's a new business in town, and I would use, trying to think, your store is not your store is a retail side, but I think in Facebook, if not, you can do LinkedIn, just so people can start seeing. So I have just recently, over the last year, really started working with social media a lot. And for the cannabis business industry, it's huge because there's still a lot of opportunity in there, and it's relatively inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're take a picture. We're starting to put up the drywall today. Can't wait to help you guys out when we open up. Simple stuff like that build up over the next several months, and then you can grand opening, boom, right?
Right.
So that's a very cheap way to do, and you don't. I have somebody that helps me out with my social marketing and my social marketing efforts, but you can find people online that do this. There's several different ways to do it, but really think about that because that's a great way to do it. They allowed us sign spinners for a while. We had sign spinners out. I don't know if that's, that was, they let us do it for a while and then they kicked us out, but we did it as long as we could because that's the only thing we could do. So we had somebody standing up by the highway off ramp, spinning a sign, come check us out. We're right down the street. And so that was a pretty cheap way. You got somebody that you're paying $12 an hour to spin a sign and point them towards you. So those three, there's more, but I would stick with those three and work on those. That would probably be the best for marketing. Guys, unfortunately, we're going to have to stop for today. This is all we have time for. I hope you enjoyed this episode as we've continued to learn about Flavia and what she's doing out in Massachusetts. it's been getting pretty interesting. I'm definitely picking up how she's really forming her business and getting a good idea and what we can do to give her some advice to help her out. So, guys, if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me at plantproblem.com and come join us next week for part 6 in this 8-part series. Thanks a lot for listening, and I'll see you next time.
You've just listened to another insightful episode of Plant Problems. If you like what you heard so far, don't forget to tell your friends and colleagues. For additional resources or to leave a review, head over to plantproblem.com. Join us again next week on Plant Problems with Tony Frischknecht. We look forward to having conversations with you as we go along this journey.